Here's what I did want to say about the uniqueness of this Warriors team, or maybe how they've evolved. Have you noticed this? And maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's only been 8 games. But the Warriors, I think for the majority of this last decade, you'd consider them a super team, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If there is such a thing.
If there is such a thing. Well, I think if you kind of look at the history of the league, a lot of the teams that win a title, you're like, that's the guy, right? Michael Jordan, that's the guy. Did he have good players around him? Sure. Hall of Fame players, Scottie Pippen, whatnot. Even if you go to the Lakers, Magic Johnson. Yes, there's Worthy, there's Kareem. Actually, maybe that's not even a great example because that was definitely a super team, came together in a different sort of a way. But like take a Giannis. Giannis wins with the Bucks. There's productive players around him. Jokic with the Nuggets. Productive players, but there's a dog. There's like, that's the guy, and that's why they're winning. The Warriors, I feel like, even had that slogan, strength in numbers, which I do feel is coming back. This group feels much more Steph and the rest than I feel like they've felt in a long time. It doesn't mean there aren't big names and great players around them. Clay is still a great player. Draymond's a great player. Chris Paul's had a Hall of Fame career. But the role they're going to play, like if Chris is truly just going to score 7 points a game, and Wiggins is going to score 11 points a game, and Clay's going to go all the way down to 16, the whole team is spreading things out a lot more. So it feels less about Splash Brothers, just go off, and the Warriors will win. It feels much more like, no, Steph's our lead guy, and then we have a collection of 6 productive players that we're going to surround him with, and any 2 of them could kind of be the guy that has a nice night. Grandy, what was the thing you sent us? One player, one time, has scored over 20 points this year, not named Steph. Is that accurate?
On the Warriors.
That's
right.
correct. Do you know who that player is?
I don't. I could
You want
guess.
to take some guesses?
I know it's not Clay because
Kuminga.
you told me it's not who.
Give me a second. Hold on. I got to get the game show music on.
That's a crazy
Hold your
stat,
guesses.
though. That's a crazy stat.
Yeah.
How many times has somebody not named Steph for the Warriors scored 20-plus in a game this year? 8
Number 1.
games. The answer's 1, and who is it? So, Larry?
I'm going to go with Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga. Did you have to hit the buzzer twice?
Yeah,
like that?
that's when you sit in that chair, you have to deal with that.
The buzzer seems very hateful,
All right.
by the way.
Well, that's the dibs buzzer. Anyway, it's not Clay, right? It's not Clay and it's not Kuminga. So I'm going to say that it is...
Saric.
No. Is it really?
Oh, look at that. Do I know my team or do I know my team?
Dario Saric.
Yeah, Saric. It's not pronounced Saric, by the way. Mark, it's Saric.
Saric. Yeah, I'm the one who told you that.
Forgot that. Yeah,
But
that was last week's show.
Dibs is the one who told me.
Okay.
And then Dario is the one who told us all.
When I have new info like that, I share it with all kinds of people. I shared it with all my kids this weekend. You guys know it's not Saric, it's Saric.
You're an info guy.
I'm an info.
You're like a Cliff Clavin type.
I'm trying to tell people what I know.
By the way, that night that someone other than Steph scored 20-plus,
right?
It was 20 on the number. And it was Dario against one of his old teams, Oklahoma City, when the Warriors scored 141 points.
Great game.
Right, but you would think that if you score 141 points with a roster like the Warriors, that a bunch of people would have scored 20 points.
Right.
But no, Dario 20, Kuminga 19, Clay 18, Wiggins 17, Draymond 15. Like that's the way that it was. And that's my point. They're all spread out this year in sort of a rebirth of strength in numbers.
Well, I mean, it's a weird vibe because Steph Curry is more of a star every day. You know what I mean? Yeah, there'll be a point where he'll be not as good a player tomorrow as he was yesterday. I don't think we've reached that point. I mean, if he's still at the apex of his career, as he crested the hill, I don't know. We could debate that. But his Q rating, the fans are there for him. And you get that vibe when you watch the Warriors. It really comes screaming through, especially when they go out on the road. And maybe it's because Fitz and Kalena talk about it in the pregame, and so I'm thinking about it. It's top of mind. But you do get this vibe that there's this love for Steph Curry. And even last night where he kind of mugged for the camera in the corner, it's just like the people love him, and they want to – he is the headliner. He is the guy that people are paying to see. He's the guy that people are saying, oh, I got to make sure I'm going to go see the Warriors. He's the guy that – like, I was a little disappointed in the Cavs game that he didn't play more minutes, but then I kind of got it because I was like, you know what? They're going to play him tomorrow night. And he's going to play more minutes tomorrow night. And sure enough, he did. Just a couple more, but I think he played 30 minutes against the Cavs and 33 or 34 against the Pistons, something like that.
Yeah, how many times a Warrior has played 35 minutes in a game this year?
How many?
How many do you think? I mean, come on.
Twice?
Mark, come on, Grandy. Let's go. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'll be sharing this with my family later today.
Yeah, because it's info.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
I'll say twice.
That's absolutely correct.
Number 2.
Do I know my team or what? Do I know my team?
Only know your team if you can tell me who they were. Who's done it?
I'll say Steph and Clay. Steph and Clay.
You took too long. You're Googling. What were you looking at over there?
I'm just thinking. I'm looking at the box score from last night.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. It's once each for Steph and Clay.
Do I know my team or what?
Apparently you do.
Yeah.
Apparently you do. All right, fine. Which games were they? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Steph did it against Sacramento, and Clay did it on opening night against the Phoenix Suns, 36 and 35 respectively. But that's another sort of brick on the wall, if you will, of what we're talking about. Like, I just think that it's going to be all so much more spread out. And maybe we should tuck all of our Wiggins opinions into that too. Like, tuck our Wiggins opinions into he's playing fewer minutes and he's going to play fewer minutes. And maybe that's a good thing. Like, you sort of made it about the individual. Maybe Andrew is pacing himself for the playoffs. Maybe this is something that the Warriors are planning to do all year long. If you really do believe, as Steve Kerr said to his team, if you really believe you have 6 starters, well, then play that to your advantage. And don't play anybody starter minutes. Play everybody 6 starter minutes. So if you used to play 30, now you're doing 26. If you used to do 35, now you're doing 30. And if you used to do 38, now you're doing 33. And that adds up over time and keeps you fresher by the time we get to the end. And then when we get to the end, then you can play 38. Steph.
Yeah. The one guy that I want to see get more run is Trayce Jackson-Davis. And I don't understand why we're not seeing that on a more consistent basis. I mean, they're off to a nice start, and I know he's a rookie. But take the Cavs game, and they go to him in the third quarter. He had a 12-minute stint. In 12 minutes, yeah, he committed 4 fouls, which is not good. But 5 points, 4 rebounds in 12 minutes. That's an incredible performance in a short amount of time. And this guy knows how to play. He's a rookie in name only. He is the one guy that, especially since they need more size. And they looked kind of outgunned in that Cleveland game. Not only does Cleveland have a really good backcourt, but Cleveland's got size. Trayce Jackson-Davis, I think, is ready to play. I wish Kerr would forget altogether that he's a rookie and just kind of play him bigger minutes.
I think the early signs are encouraging that we'll get there. It's not that you're wrong, but we've seen 8 games. He got shipped out for one of them, obviously.
Right.
They had the whole Santa Cruz experience. By the way, is there ever, I know everyone thinks Draymond sometimes runs this team. Like, oh my gosh, he punched someone and he still didn't suspend him. Does Draymond have nude pictures of everybody? Have you ever seen a better example of how Draymond may potentially be running this team? They send TJD and Pajemski to Santa Cruz. They play one game, and it's the 141-139 game in OKC. Draymond runs the microphone and goes, we came out sleepwalking, and one of the main reasons is that TJD and Pajemski weren't here. They are our bench energy, and I think they should be back within 24 hours. Boom, boom. Press conferences, press releases. TJD and Pajemski are coming right back.
Listen to him because he's smart. Listen to him because his ideas are right. He's got great instincts. He's right. I mean, he's totally right. I thought that was weird too. I mean,
it was weird. Why'd you send him out if you're going to call him right back?
Yeah, I mean, well, and it was. I mean, did they even play a game? Did they play a game? I mean,
Santa Cruz?
I know the Warriors played a game Friday night without them, but did they play a game in Santa Cruz?
I don't think they did, but I'm not
they did
sure.
Not.
Yeah,
the reason the Warriors gave was Warriors when they were traveling to Sacramento and then to Cleveland or to Oklahoma City, they weren't practicing as a team, so they sent them to Santa Cruz to get practice time in with the G League team, considering that they weren't going to be practicing at all with the big club, and they weren't expecting to play them against Oklahoma City. That was the reasoning.
Yeah,
that the Warriors
gosh,
gave.
It's not because Joe wants to save money on hotel rooms.
I don't know. It seems like a lot of travel and effort to go get one practice, doesn't it? I love it. Like, prioritize those guys getting on the floor, but you're going to send them to Santa Cruz and then dial up their own flight to join you mid-trip, also that you could get one more practice, and it's not even with you?
The move was very Farhanian.
It sure was.
Very Farhanian.
It was as if the Warriors had just acquired the Mariners' backup catcher.
Brett Wisely's driving around listening to 95.7 going, I feel that. I
did. I felt that down the California coast and right back the next day thing.
Yeah, I've been to the River Cats or whatever. No, but I mean, you've got two rookies that you feel comfortable playing in a rotation off the bench. I don't know that they need to go to Santa Cruz. I don't know that it benefits them. Now, if if they were trying to rehab something or if there's some wisdom you're trying to impart to them, I'm fine with it. I love how close Santa Cruz is. It's a real win overall for the organization, the ability to do that. But these are not the kinds of rookies that I think I would do that with a lot this year. I think these are the kind of rookies that, you know what, Maloney gets in early foul trouble, you may want to have Trace Jackson Davis right there.
No, he's an option. He's already an option.
Yeah.
And I do think that it'll grow. Like, that's my thing with it's so early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm with you. I'd love to see more of him, but I also, let's not, don't dump more on his shoulders than we need to right now. They're 6-2. It's been a really good start.
And I was specific about Trace Jackson Davis, not because I think Pajemski is not also in that boat, but they just are guard heavy. They're a guard heavy team.
Totally.
They don't have lots of bigs. And here's a big man who played 4 years in the Big Ten, who really knows how to play and has done some really nice things in the 2 games that he's played. And he's off in Santa Cruz. And I'm glad Draymond spoke up because I think Trace Jackson Davis is, if you played him regularly, would produce regularly.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, and I do think he's already shown that there'll be a role for him on this team.
Yeah.
But there are going to be nights where you don't see him.
It's amazing when you watch the Piston game and you see James Wiseman. There's still no role for him there. There was no role for him here. And yet a guy picked 57th that every team in the NBA could have easily had. And he's on the Warriors, and he looks like he's got a nice future.
Yeah. This is James Wiseman.
I mean, it's kind of become a repetitive comment that we've made about drafting and immediate impact in recent years. Like, don't thumb your nose at 4 years in college.
Right.
I can think of another team that had the exact same experience. Picked somebody really early. It was really raw. Didn't work out. Threw somebody else in there that nobody wanted. Got late. He had played a bunch of college. And poof, all of a sudden he can play.